Yeah, thank you so much once again for giving me service of glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees. This video is seen in as my screen shows blank. Nitesh Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu, your video is clear, but if you are sharing, nothing is there, Prabhu.
No, share. I didn't share, but my screen is blank.
Yeah, no,
I
no.
cannot see the video also.
No, beautiful Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maya, back of you. Yeah,
Yeah, but we can see it, Prabhu. Clear. With your new look.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a reason for the new look. I'll tell at the end of the session. Don't get bewildered about this new look. It's only a temporary arrangement of the Lord.
Yeah,
That's why I'm making a co-host to, since I will be in the class, just to control any audios. Yeah. So welcome back, all the devotees, for this Chaitanya Charitamrta study class and wonderful discussion we are having about the Lord's pastimes of the Lord Chaitanya in his youth. So last week we had a beautiful description and explanation by His Grace Radhapati Krishna Prabhu. So those who attended, they are very, very fortunate. And those who not attended, who missed it, can see the recording in our YouTube channel. There's a class which one cannot miss. So I request everybody to please go back, and those who are not seen or who missed it before, go back and hear the lecture. So today we are continuing, was asked to continue from the chapter 17, text 34 onwards. So with your permission, let me share the screen. Yeah. So we'll read from chapter 17, text 34 to 59 today, and cover a wonderful pastime of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu, how mercifully he is taking care of his devotees. Tabe Prabhu Srivasera Griha Nirantara Ratre Sankirtana Kaila Ekya Samvatsara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly led congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the house of Srivas Thakura every night for 1 full year. Kapata diya kirtana kare parama aveshe pasandi hasite aise napaya praveshe. This ecstatic chanting was performed with the doors closed so that non-believers who came to make fun could not gain entrance. Text 36. Kirtana suni bahire tara jwali papudi mare siva sare daukhe tite nana yukti kare. Thus, the non-believers almost turned to ashes and died out of envy. To retaliate, they planned various ways to give trouble to Srivas Thakura. Ekadina Vipranama Gopala Chapala Pasandi Pradhana Sei Dirmukha Vachala Bhavani Puja Rasabha Samagri Lana Ratre Siva Sera Dware Sthana Lapena Lepana. This is 37 and 38. One night, while Kirtana was going on, inside Srivas Thakura's house, a Brahmana named Gopala Chapala, the chief of the non-believers, who was talkative and very rough in his speech, placed all the paraphernalia for worshipping the goddess Durga outside Shiva's Thakura's door. Text 39. Kalara pata upare tuila oda pula haridra sindhura ara rakta chandana tandula. On the upper portion of plantain leaf, he placed such paraphernalia for worship as odafula, turmeric, vermilion, red sandalwood, and rice. Text 40. Madhya banda pase dhari nija ghare gela prata kale srivasa taha ta dekhila. He placed a pot of wine inside all this. And in the morning, when Srivas Thakura opened his door, he saw this paraphernalia. Text 41. Bada bada loka saba anila bolaya sabare kahe Srivasa haisa hasiya hasiya. Srivas Thakura called for all the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and smilingly addressed them as follows. Text 42. Nitya ratre kari ami bhavani pujana amara mahima dekha brahmana sajana. Gentlemen, every night I worship the goddess Bhavani. Since the paraphernalia for the worship is present here, now all of you, respective Brahmanas and members of the higher castes, can understand my position. Text 43. Tabe saba sista loka kare hahakara aiche karma haite heta kaila kondurachara. Then all the assembled gentlemen exclaimed, "What is this? What is this? Who has performed such a mischievous activities? Who is that sinful man?" Adi ke aniya saba dura karaila jala gomaya diya se sthana lepaila. They called for a sweeper, Hadi, who threw all the items of worship far away and cleansed the place by mopping it with a mixture of water and cow dung. Text 45. Dina dina rahi sei gopala chapala sarvange hi ila kushta vahe rakta dhara. After 3 days, leprosy attacked Gopala Chapala and blood oozed from source all over his body. Text 46. Sarvanga bedila kite kate nirantara asahya vedana dukhe jwalaye antara. Incessantly covered with gems and insects, biting him all over his body, Gopala Chapala felt unbearable pain. His entire body burned in distress. Text 47. Ganga ghate vriksha tale rahita vasiya eka dina bale kichu prabhu ke dekhiya. Since leprosy is an infectious disease, Gopala Chapala left the village to sit down on the bank of the Ganges underneath a tree. One day, however, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passing by and spoke to him as follows. Text 48. Rama sambandhe ami tumara matula bhagina mui kushtha vyadhite hanachi vyakula. My dear nephew, I am your maternal uncle in a village relationship. Please see how greatly this attack of leprosy has afflicted me. Text 49. Loka sabha udharite tomara avatara muni bada dukhi more kahar karaha udhara. As an incarnation of God, you are delivering so many fallen souls. I am also greatly unhappy fallen soul. Kindly deliver me by your mercy. Text 50. Eta suni mahaprabhura haila krudha mana krodha veshe bale tare tarjana vachana. Hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared greatly angry, and in that angry mood, he spoke some words chastising him. Text 51. Are papi bhakta dveshi tore na udhari mu koti janma e mate kidayam ko khau imu. O sinful person, envious of pure devotees, I shall not deliver you. Rather, I shall have you bitten by these germs for many millions of years. Text 52. Siva se karaili tui bhavani pujana koti janma habe tora, raurave patina. You have made Shiva Thakura appear to have been worshipping the goddess Bhavani. Simply for this offense, you will have to fall down into hellish life for 10 million births. Text 53. Pasandi samhari te mora ei avatara. Pasandi samhari bhakti kurimu prachara. I have appeared in this incarnation to kill the demons, Pashandis, and after killing them, to preach the cult of devotional service. Text 54. Eta bali geli gela prabhu karite ganga snana sei papi dukhag bhoge nayaya parana. After saying this, the Lord left to take his path in the Ganges, and that sinful man did not give up his life but continued to suffer. Text 55 and 56. Sanyasa kariye yabu prabhu nila chale gela tatha haite yabe kuliya grame aila. ताबे से पापी प्रभुरा ला इला सारणा ita upadesha kaile ha iya karuna. When Sri Chaitanya, after accepting the renounced order of life, went to Jagannath Puri and then came back to the village of Kulia, upon his return, that sinful man took shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord, being merciful to him, gave him instructions for his benefit. Mr. Prabhu, can you please take care of audio? Some audios are on. Request all to please mute your audios. Next. Hare Krishna. Request devotees please keep audios mute.
Purushottam Prabhuji, I think your cooker is whistling.
Prabhu, you are a co-host. You can mute wherever.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Text 57 and 58. Srivasa Panditera Sthane Ache Aparadha Tatha Yaha Tinho Yadi Karena Prasada Tabe Tora Habe Papa Vimochana Yadi Puna Aiche Nahi Kara Acharana. You have committed an offense at the lotus feet of Srivas Thakur. The Lord said, first you must go and there and beg for his mercy, and then if he gives you his blessings and you do not commit such sins again, you will be freed from these reactions. Text 59. Tabe vipra la ila asi sivasa sharana tanhara kripaya haila papa vimochana. Then the Brahmana Gopala Chapala went to Srivas Thakura and took shelter of his lotus feet. And by Srivas Thakura's mercy, he was freed from all sinful reactions. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Jnantimrindasya Jnananjana Salakhe Chakshuntam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Putale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashchati Deshtarne Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Parvakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, as we were looking at the slokas and the translations, which is self-explanatory. So we try to take some lessons from this beautiful pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srivas Thakura, and a wonderful devotee by name Gopala Chapala. So when I say wonderful devotee Gopala Chapala, that has a specific reason that I will explain at the end. So this particular pastime carries a beautiful, wonderful message for devotees, mainly sadhakas. So, as we all know that scriptures have divided the devotees into three types. This is from Caritamrta Adilila, 17th chapter and text 95. It is mentioned that there are three kinds of devotees. Those who are eternally on the transcendental platform, they are called Nitya Siddhas. Those who have been elevated to transcendental platform by execution of devotional service, they are Sadhana Siddhas. and those who are neophytes advancing towards a perfectional platform, they are sadhakas. So this message, what we are discussing today, the pastime and the message behind this beautiful pastime, this is applicable for all the three types of devotees: Nitya Siddhas, Sadhana Siddhas, and Sadhakas. But of course, Nitya Siddhas or all Nitya Siddhas, they don't get affected by any of these anarthas. But there is a possibility for Sadhana Siddhas and Sadhakas to get inflicted by these anarthas. And we have to be very, very cautious. And we are going to understand today how this affects our devotional service, the anarthas, what we carry, how it affects our devotional service. Author Krishna Kaviraj Goswami is explaining through this wonderful pastime of a wonderful devotee, Gopala Chapala. So I reserve my comments on my point of wonderful devotee towards the end of the session. So as I said, this carries a beautiful and important message for all of us. So as we proceed further, we'll see what messages Lord is giving to us through this pastime. As always I say that every pastime of the Lord has two different dimensions. One is the pastime itself, for us to understand the supremacy of the Lord. And second, by performing this pastime, Lord conveys an important message to us, the sadhakas. Because it is not that we hear this message, hear the pastime, say, what a beautiful pastime, wonderful, I enjoyed the pastime. So that is one aspect. The second aspect is, what is the message, what we get as a sadhakas? How can I improve my sadhana? How can I improve my devotional service based on this particular pastime? Every pastime carries a wonderful specific message for all of us. So this pastime carries four important messages. I will cover that four important messages at the end of the session. So here in this episode, we all heard the translations. It is self-explanatory that as the congregation chanting Sankirtana Yajna is going on in the house of Sivas Thakura, there are many Smarta Brahmanas and other residents of that place, Navadipa. So they become envious of the Lord and his devotees. Because one aspect very clearly Prabhupada has mentioned here is that all the Sankirtana Yajna is going on behind the doors. Because the main reason is that the Lord, he doesn't want the non-believers, the Pashandis, to witness and experience this beautiful Sankirtan Mahayajna which is going on in the house of Sivas Thakura. So that has created a kind of envious nature in the hearts of many residents of Navadvipa. So one of such envious personality was Gopala Chapala. He was a great spiritual leader, Smarta Brahmana, leader of Brahmana community of that locality. So he has developed enviousness in his heart, and he wanted to defame Sivas Thakura and other devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here, Acharyas explained that whatever Gopala Chapala has done, he has kept all abominable items in front of Sivas Thakura's house, the entrance of Sivas Thakura's house. So those items which generally use to worship Mother Kali as a Kshudra pujas, like wine and so many other abominable items which are used in the Kshudra puja. So he collected all those and kept in the doorstep of Sivas Thakura. His idea was that morning when the residents, neighbors see the those items, they will think or they will realize that these people, what they are doing inside the house is abominable activities, and he thought they will all start blaspheming Srivas Thakura and the devotees. So that was his idea. I request the devotees to please keep the video on wherever possible, so that I know somebody I'm looking at. Otherwise, I'm looking at only Brahmajyoti. So this is a humble request. So the symptoms of disease which Gopala Chapala is carrying has manifested in the form of envy. He has, as we proceed in the past time, that he has made a grave offense to the lotus feet of Srivas Thakura and the devotees. He was inflicted with leprosy and was suffering. Though the residents of Navadipa, no one has believed Srivas Thakura's believe that Srivas Thakura was doing this abominable activity of Shudra Puja and all. So we heard in the translation that no one is believed. They arranged to clean all the place and thrown the items. But the offense which Gopala Chapala has done to the lotus feet of Srivas Thakura, he got inflicted with a disease, very grave disease, leprosy. So, as we proceed to discuss this past time, Acharya explained that the symptoms of the two diseases is carry. Actually, the disease of Gopala Chapala has manifested in the form of envy. So the envy was a main disease which he is carrying in his heart, that is reflecting in the form of leprosy in externally on his body. So here Acharya explained that leprosy is a physical disease, and he has a two leprosies: leprosy of a physical disease and leprosy of egoistic disease. This one is Radha Samaraj explains this very beautifully on this point, that the leprosy of egoistic disease is much more dangerous for mainly sadhakas. So the problem of Gopala Chapala was actually Haridas Thakura. So Haridas Thakura was a very dear friend of Srivas Thakura. We all know that Haridas Thakura was born in a Mohammedan family, and he has become a wonderful, great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu. And though externally he is born in a Malacha family, but though he is a wonderful devotee, he always claims himself to be a most fallen person. And Srivas Thakura recognized the greatness of Haridas Thakura, and he started associating with him, and that actually created a kind of enviousness in the heart of Gopala Chapala, because he thought this Haridas Thakura is a fallen person. He is not born into Hindu family, and such a person is associating with Srivas Thakura, and he is creating a nuisance in the society. So he wanted to teach a lesson, and finally he learned a lesson at the end. So Gopala Chapala was envious of the respect Srivas Thakura and Haridas Thakura was gaining. They were gaining in the society of the community of Navadipa, because everyone recognized Srivas Thakura and even Haridas Thakura, all the devotees, as a wonderful Vaishnavas. So that was a cause of envy for Gopala Chapala. So when Srivas Thakura has confessed the thing which, even though he was not doing, that he told all the residents, he said, see my real nature. See my real nature. I am worshipper of Mother Kali. I'm doing all this Shudra Puja all along. See, this is the clear witness of what I have been doing all these days and years. I'm so fallen person. He had no fear. Srivas Thakur had no fear. He didn't try to cover up something which even he didn't do. He didn't say that, oh, please don't think that I'm doing all this. No, I have not done this. Somebody else has done. He was very fearless. So the reason for his fearlessness is that he is completely surrendered to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So since he was completely depending on Krishna, so he had no fear. He openly tried to, not even tried, he openly said that, see my real nature. So there, the quality of Vaishnava is being exhibited. He didn't try to point out. He knows, Srivas Thakur knows who has done this. He knows very well this is Gopala Chapala, who is an envious person. He has done all this nonsense, but he didn't highlight his name. He took the blame on himself. So that is a wonderful quality of Vaishnava. So when Gopala Chapala had been suffering, so many days he was suffering, and once Chaitanya Prabhu he returned from Jagannath Puri, and once he came to Navadipa, so he requested, Gopala Chapala requested him, my dear Lord, you are the incarnation, you are the Lord himself, you incarnated in this material world to deliver the fallen souls. See how much fallen condition I am in. I am suffering, my Lord, please. I am suffering, my Lord, please relieve me from this suffering. So he requested Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that moment, he was very angry. It was very easy for him to relieve him from the sufferings of Gopala Chapala, but he didn't do, because he realized that though Gopala Chapala was suffering externally, there was no tinge of repentance in his heart. There was no tinge of repentance in his heart. So he knows, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows that still he was carrying the envious nature in his heart. So all along, when Gopala Chapala was suffering, other side, Srivas Thakur, he has been praying Supreme Lord to relieve Gopala Chapala from this horrible disease and sufferings which Gopala Chapala was undergoing. So this again reflects the quality of a Vaishnava. He never took it as an offense. He already forgave Gopala Chapala, and he was praying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna to relieve Gopala Chapala from this suffering. But Lord had a different plans. He told Gopala Chapala that I want you to suffer millions of more births like this in hellish planets. So Lord told this and he left from that place. So Gopala Chapala, Acharyas explained that Gopala Chapala's suffering is like a cancer patient undergoing the chemotherapy. So it is a very painful process after this therapy. The one who is taking this chemotherapy, they will know that it is so much painful process that body becomes so weak. I had so much of I heard so much from my own family members, some of the relatives, not own family members, but some of the relatives who undergone this process. So I understood how much painful the suffering is. So Acharyas explained that the suffering of Srivas Thakur, Gopal Chapala was like a cancer patient undergoing chemotherapy. But at the end, that gives a result. One should not give up taking a treatment just because it is very painful. So this treatment of Gopal Chapala being given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a treatment for him to recover from his disease, not just a physical disease, but the disease in his heart. enviousness. So at the end, Lord has forgive him when he came back again. Lord forgive him, Gopala Chapala, when he realized that he was completely purified from his heart, the disease he was carrying in the heart. Then he said to him that there is only one way for you to get cured from this disease, is go and take shelter of my dear devotee Srivas Thakura. Take his shelter. Only if he forgives you, you will be cured from the disease of this leprosy. So Lord had actually different plan. Though he knows that Srivas Thakura already forgave him. So when Srivas Thakura already forgave Gopala Chapala, then why Lord Chaitanya Prabhu is insisting that he should go and beg forgiveness from Srivas Thakura? The plan behind the Lord saying this, giving these instructions is he want the heart of Gopala Chapala to be completely purified. This gives a message for us that one who commits an offense to the lotus feet of a pure devotee, even the devotee forgive him, even the devotee never took it as an offense, he will be cured from the anarthas, freed from the results of the anarthas, only if he go and begs forgiveness from such Vaishnava. So at the end, by this wonderful pastime, when Gopala Chapala has went back to Srivas Thakura with a wholehearted repentance in his heart, he begged for forgiveness and he was completely cured from this disease. So what disease we are talking about here? We are not just talking about the disease of leprosy. He was completely cured from the disease of envy. So Lord Chaitanya Prabhu not only cured the disease of leprosy, but also disease of envy of Gopala Chapala. So in a wonderful book written by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakura, it's called Vaishnava Ninda. Those who have access in India, they can get this book on Amazon. Wonderful book. This is beautiful book where Bhakti Vinod Thakura has explained so nicely what different types of Vaishnava aparadhas a person can commit on this earth and what is the result of that and how a person can get rid of those anarthas. So there he mentions that there are 6 abominable activities. 6 abominable activities a person can commit. The fools who offend Vaishnava, great souls, fall into hell named Maharaurava with their forefathers. This is a very beautiful, touching point which I noticed from this book. It is not only that we are falling down. If we commit a Vaishnava aparadha, we have been hearing all along that we fall down, we fall down, we fall down. But here the point what Bhaktivinoda Thakura is highlighting is very striking point. He says that not only you, we will fall down along with our forefathers. So we are pulling even our forefathers with us. We are falling down because of our offenses. That is our karma. But who are we to pull our forefathers who may be pious, who have done great services, but still by committing this Vaishnava aparadha, we are pulling even our forefathers. Those fools who offend Vaishnava, great souls, fall into hell named Maharaurava along with their forefathers. There are 6 abominable activities which is highlighted in this book by Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Killing, criticizing, hating, not welcoming, becoming angry, and not attaining delighted upon seeing Vaishnavas. The last one is very important. When we don't feel delightment, when we don't feel ecstasy, happiness, when we see Vaishnava, oh my God, he has come. How to escape from him? So the moment we start getting that feeling, that attracts the sixth abominable activity. Killing, criticizing, hating, not welcoming, becoming angry, and not attaining the delightment upon seeing a Vaishnava. These are the six causes of fall down. Such persons, Thakura says, such persons will fall down into Maharaurava hellish planets along with their forefathers. We have no right to pull our forefathers down to Maharaurava hellish planets. Not only we fall, but we also pull our forefathers. So in this book, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains what is the difference between sin and offense. So very beautiful point. This I was not aware of this point. An offense, he says, the sinful reactions pertain to one's gross and subtle bodies. We do so many sinful activities, knowingly, unknowingly. After taking initiation, we don't follow the four regulative principles and commit so many the sins by engaging in abominable activities. They're all sinful reactions. What we get is sinful reactions. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says those sinful reactions pertain to one's gross and subtle bodies, whereas offensive reactions pertain to soul of the living being and are the special causes for fall down. So offenses actually affect us. Sins affect the body. So the suffering because of a sins, only this body takes. Body takes the suffering. Like you externally, somebody is a leprosy or any other disease, that might be because of the past sinful activities, sinful reactions. But offense to a Vaishnava, like what a wonderful devotee Gopala Chapala has done in this episode, it has such offenses, effects. They are the pertain to the soul of a living being. Means soul of a living means it's a soul. Effect of the living being is living being means the soul. Those offenses affect the living being, and they are the special causes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur highlights that word, special causes for fall down. So therefore, there is a special apprehension regarding offenses in those who want to engage in devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one has to be more careful not committing offenses than being more careful about sinful activities. It is very easy to get back from the reactions of sinful activities by recommitting ourselves not to commit those sinful activities. It is very possible that one can overcome the reactions of sinful activities. The moment we take up devotion service, reactions of all the sinful activities, as explained in Nectar of Devotion, everything is burnt into ashes. But offenses, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very clear. He says that no, because those effects, those will not affect the gross and subtle body, they affect directly the soul. Because soul is eternal and soul keeps changing the bodies. Whatever body you take, the effects of those offenses will carry, will never be burnt into ashes. So these are the effects of the offenses. What we here, the six kind of offenses we saw in as given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So let me connect again to give wonderful lessons taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this pastime. There are 4 lessons, as I said, we can learn from this beautiful pastime of Gopala Chapala and Siva Sakura and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These 3 great personalities. I still continue to say the great personalities, all the 3, including Gopala Chapala. The reason after this slide we'll try to understand. The Lord says, why fear? I am here. So Siva Sakura, when he was facing that very awkward situation of being chastised, there's a possibility that they are being chastised and blasphemed by residents for worshipping Mother Kali and doing Shudra Puja. So he was not at all fearful because he was completely surrendered to Supreme Lord. See, many times, even in our devotional life, we try to do so many activities. We may be asked, like take my own case, I'm doing Bhakti Vaibhav, and sometimes we may be asked to give a lecture. So sometimes I get tensed. Oh, I'll be tested. What if the devotees comment negatively about me? This fear is in the heart is because I think I am doing this to please or to show that I am perfect or I know this subject. When we have this kind of feelings in our heart, when we are not surrendered to the Lord completely, when we are not realizing that we are doing this activity, any activity, for example, just taking an example, any activity when we do in our devotional service, we should realize that the purpose of this is to please the Supreme Lord, please the devotees, not to get a credit or name or fame. So one should be, when we will be fearful, the difference between bhaya and abhaya is only one word, bhaya and abhaya. So abhaya, when we take a shelter of Supreme Lord, just by adding the one letter abhaya, A, to bhaya, the A here is the personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he is added to our activities, all our bhayas, all our activities, all our ritualistic activities become spiritualistic. So we should not be doing for our own pleasure or to get name or fame. When we do this, when we do these activities for the pleasure of Supreme Lord, why do we worry? Why do we fear? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ma Suchaha, says, do not worry. But still he says, okay, I understand, you just you be aside, but still let me continue to worry. So it means that we are not completely surrendered to the Lord. So Lord says through this pastime, he explains by exhibiting the qualities of Siva Sakura that a pure devotee will never be fearful. He was in a very awkward situation. What more awkward situation than Siva Sakura we can expect us to be in? So he was in the mid of the residents who are witnessing all the abominable items in front of his house. It is a very clear case of a Shudra Puja being done by Siva Sakura and the devotees. He says, yes, see, my dear Brahmanas, see what kind of a fallen person I am. He was completely fearless because he knows that Lord is there with him. So carry the Lord in your heart. Give up all kinds of fears that maybe I'll fail or maybe I will get commented. This kind of the feelings we have because when we try to prove our mettle, when we try to prove that, oh, I am doing good. So when we do good, when we pass on all the credit to the Lord and spiritual master and the senior devotees, still sometimes it is possible that we may not perform well. That gives an opportunity to improve ourselves. Lord, sitting in our heart, He knows our condition. He takes care. He takes care of us, His devotees. So why fear when I'm here? The first lesson taught by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this: don't touch my devotee, you will become untouchable. So this is a wonderful message from the pastime of great devotee Gopala Chapala. He says, don't touch my devotee Srivas Thakura, you will be an untouchable. So here, untouchable, not only from the point of the leprosy, the disease leprosy he was inflicted with, he will become untouchable. The one who offends a devotee, he gets untouchable in the form of lack of association, which I experienced in my life many times. So one should be very careful in hurting or blaspheming a devotee or criticizing a devotee or being envious of a devotee. So Lord says you will be untouchable. So what happened to Gopala Chapala was externally he was inflicted with the disease of leprosy, and he was thrown out of the village. Even his own family members, they didn't care about him. He said, get lost, because they're all fearful. Actually, same thing happens even the devotees who offends pure devotee Vaishnavas. They will become untouchable by other devotees, because Shastras very clearly says that one should not associate with two kinds of people. It is explained that one should not associate with even a devotee who engaged in sense gratification. So such person one should not be associating with. It is mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakura that if you associate with an unsaintly person, even unknowingly, you become offenders of bhakti, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Text 55. So this is the first aspect. There are two versions, two perspectives to this. One should not associate with unsaintly persons and even unknowingly. So this is what actually happened to Gopala Chapala. He become unsaintly person. Because he has committed offense to the devotees. So he has become untouchable from that perspective. And second version is association with those engaged in sense gratification, even their devotees, even out of ignorance, is a cause of a cycle of birth and death. Association with such people also is prohibited. So we have to be very, very careful in our Vaishnava dealings. So Lord says here, don't touch my devotee, you will be an untouchable, as we seen in the case of Gopala Chapala. Become pet of my devotee, you will become my devotee. This is a third lesson given by Lord. He instructs finally to Gopala Chapala that go and take shelter of Srivas Thakur. So when he forgives, though Srivas Thakur already forgive him, but it is for the purification of the heart of Gopala Chapala, Lord has told. Otherwise, though Srivas Thakur has already forgive him, and where is an opportunity for Gopala Chapala for purification and improvement in his life, in his spiritual life. So Lord wants him to become a pet of Srivas Thakura. Go and take shelter of Srivas Thakura's lotus feet. Then he says, you will become my dear devotee. It's exactly what had happened with Gopal Chapala. And finally he says, surrender to my devotee, whole world will surrender to you. So here the question is, what happened to Gopala Chapala after taking shelter of Srivas Thakur. So many may not be aware of, but some the scriptures it is mentioned that actually what had happened to Gopala Chapala after taking shelter of Srivas Thakura. So it is a great lesson which we get from the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Prabhu. So here we understand from Acharyas about what had happened to Gopala Chapala. Gopala Chapala has, after he taken shelter of Srivas Thakura, he was completely cured from the external disease of leprosy, and also was completely cured from all the anarthas which he had been carrying in his heart. So he has been initiated by Purushottamananda Thakura. Purushottam Das Thakura. Purushottam Das Thakura has initiated Gopala Chapala, and Gopala Chapala has become a wonderful devotee. And he has been initiated by the name Devaki Nandan Das Thakur. So Gopala Chapala has become Devaki Nandan Das Thakur. And he wrote so many wonderful books, wonderful Vaishnava songs. I have been listening to one very beautiful song. I didn't know that that song was written by Gopala Chapala. I knew that that was written by Devakinanda Das Thakura. It was on. He didn't write the many books on the glorification of the Supreme Lord. He wrote the books and poems, songs, the glorifying the devotees of the Lord, because he had that experience, the direct experience he had. He wrote a beautiful song. One of such song is Vrindavana Vasi Jata Vaishnavera Gana Prathama Vandana Kari Sabara Charana Nilachala Vasi Jata Mahaprabhur Gana Bhumite Podiya Vanda Sabara Charana Navadvipa Vasi Jata Mahaprabhur Bhakta Sabara Charana Vanda Haya Anurakta. Likewise, he wrote and written so many wonderful songs and books. This song is there even Vaishnava book also under author Devakinanda Thakur. You can find this song, very beautiful song. This highlights why one should take the shelter of lotus feet of devotees of the Lord. So very beautifully explained. This is coming from the real experience of a wonderful devotee. Like this is why I've been calling him as a wonderful Vaishnava, because it was only a pastime of the Lord for him to appear to be falling down and then taken the shelter of a pure devotee, Srivas Thakura, and then how he has been completely elevated in his spiritual life. He has written so wonderful poems, and that has become a source for all of us to follow the footsteps of great devotee like Gopala Chapala, who has become Devakinandan Das Thakur. So that actually the book is called Vaishnava Vandana. So the book he wrote a book itself called Vaishnava Vandana, where he glorified so many poems and songs about the glorification of the pure devotees of the Lord. He didn't focus on the Lord's lotus feet, and he said that okay, fine, but the more important is for you, for sadhakas, because that is experience. It's coming from the experience. He said, take shelter of lotus feet of devotees. Don't ever offend the devotees, because he had all the experience. And experience is putting everything into the songs and the message he's conveying to us, that one should not be doing any offense to the lotus feet of the pure devotees of the Lord. So Actually, to end the session, I would like to add one small example. This actually, when last week, when I was talking to my daughter, she brought a big chart paper. She was trying to do something on the chart paper. She was trying to draw something, and a neat white full chart paper was there. She took the pencil, sharpened the pencil, and she just put a dot on that. And she put a dot, and she was looking at me. She didn't say anything actually, but when I saw the dot, uh, I was thinking, this is our life. This is our life. This has got two perspectives, my dear devotees. This realization has a two perspective. One is um, out of so huge material world, our life is a small, tiny dot which has no length and breadth, and we feel ourselves as so great of being a leader, so great of being a devotee, so great of being a senior devotee, so great of being a brahmana for last so many years. So this arrogance makes us to commit more and more offenses. One should understand what is actually his position. This whole creation, we are like a small dot. And one more perception to this realization was that how many of the dots we need to fill the all the full chart paper. It may be billions and trillions dots. Even a small 1 centimeter area may have thousands of dots, and that is our life after life after life. How many lives like these dots, which has no length and breadth, for which we are so much proud of, and how many dots we need to complete to fill the chart. So this was striking at me. I said, actually, I thank my daughter in a way that she gave this wonderful lesson. She didn't say anything. She put a dot on the chart paper and just looked at me. And this gave this realization to me that how many lifetimes life after life, each dot is like a dot for us, and how many lives we want to come again and again to fill this chart paper. So let us stop all this nonsense and go back. And the only way to stop is to take shelter of each other. That is how a sadhaka can progress in its devotion service. The first thing is, one should not have, because this material world, everywhere there is a danger. Padam padam yat vipadam. So Krishna says very clearly in Bhagavad Gita. So there is a danger every step. So what is the solution? The only solution is taking shelter of another devotee. We cannot travel this journey. Though we say that the journey to Goloka is very easy, but it is not easy alone. It becomes easy only when we take shelter of devotees. So let us take the shelter of each other and carry this. And in this journey, one should not be fearful, because we have, if I'm alone, I'm fearful. If I'm doing on my own, I should be fearful because I am trying myself. Let me try to give a good lecture. So because I'm trying to depend on my own capacity, so I'm fearful. If I'm depending on the devotees, if I'm depending on the Supreme Lord, why should I worry? Like, leave. It's a failure. Failure. I'll learn and go ahead. So many people may fall down. Like when we are learning a cycle, we would have fallen down so many times. No one has become perfect. Even the car driving, we all had experience. Those who are in this Middle East, when we go for even though we do all the things correctly, still he says fail, because he gives some reason. Some reason he gives, and he didn't see in the mirror, or some reason he'll say fail. So falling or failing is possible, but only when we keep holding the hand of another devotee, he will pull us up. So never ever try to offend devotees. This becomes a serious criminal offense, which we saw in this episode. Like Lord will never forgive us. So with this, I would like to end the session here. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions or comments, you can take for a few minutes, because I need to go another 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. I need to go to pick my daughter. So if you have any questions and comments, you can take for some time.
Hare Bol Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Dayaniji Dinesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Dinesh Prabhu, Hare
Thank you for your association and Nectarian Prabhu. Prabhu, last week, remember Radhapati Prabhu was telling that we need to touch the devotees, and here you mentioned that if you touch the devotee, you are untouchable. So can you please explain, Prabhu, how is the difference? We have to understand this.
Yeah, context is different, Prabhu. Where here, I mean, touch devotee, I mean that don't offend devotee. Don't offend a devotee is what I meant here. Don't touch a devotee means don't disturb him. Don't actually, we should go and hold his feet. That is different. What Radhapati Prabhu was saying from the positive perspective of how we should deal with the devotees. I am telling from negative perception of what we should not be doing with the devotees. Here, don't touch means don't offend. If you offend the devotees, you will become offender, you will become untouchable. That's what it means, Prabhu.
Hare Bol. Thank you so much. Got it.
Guruji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Dandat Pranam. This is Trisha Gopal Das.
Hare Krishna.
Guruji, thank you for the wonderful class and enlightenment. I want to ask one question that here always whenever the verse was going on
Prabhu?
for pure duty.
Prabhu, come again. You lost your voice.
Pure duty. Sorry, Guruji. Yeah. I said that in this context, whenever the Ms. Prabhupada is mentioning, whenever we offend a pure devotee, that word is coming, pure devotee. Okay. So how can I understand a person in front of me is pure or not? One thing. Other thing, or I should understand it only except me, everyone are pure. This one understanding of that, because here it is not saying only devotee. Everywhere it is mentioning pure devotee. Whenever you offend a pure devotee, or this is okay, you offend other devotees other than pure. That's what my understanding now.
Prabhu, it is very simple. Acharyas explained this that because we are not in a position to go and check. We don't have any parameter. Say pure devotee or not. Okay, I will not do offend. So don't offend anybody. So your second perception was that except me, other devotees are pure. All others are pure. Not only others, even the living entities, any living entity, please try to avoid offending them. So that is easy way to avoid all this results.
Thank you, Ruju. Thank you so much. And one more question, which the devotee asked now, the touching the devotee. Means you told that last class, it was told that we should grab the feet of the devotees. But in that sense, I have to ask, for example, once it happened that here, Mukti Prem Maharaj came and someone tried to grab his legs. So the devotee has that tendency to grab the legs of the lotus feet of the great souls like Maharaj. So actually, what we should not do that, because we are not eligible to do that. We should ask the permission to do that. Then how to understand these two contradictory things? That grabbing the lotus feet of the devotees, and in this sense, understanding ourselves that we do not right to trouble the great person. We should not touch their feet. Rather, we can bow down in front of them. Only this.
Prabhu, actually, yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for a nice question. Prabhu, actually, what we have to go beyond the literal meaning of these words. So when we say hold the lotus feet of pure devotees, or touch the lotus feet of pure devotees, it doesn't only mean the literal meaning of physically touching, but actually we should completely surrender to the devotees. Means we should completely follow the instructions of devotees. That is actually it means. It is not a physical or a literal meaning of holding. Of course, that has its own effect, very positive vibrations it gives, but we should go beyond that also. So also Acharya say that don't allow anybody to touch your feet. So means that what one hand you say that to go and touch the other devotee's feet, but don't allow others to touch your feet. Then everybody is trying to do that. Then how it is possible? So we have to go beyond this literal meaning, Prabhu. So here what actually it means that we should completely surrender to the devotees, not because externally we touch, internally we are, he's also like me, and what is there is also a body made of blood and flesh, and what is there. So internally when we don't give that respect, and okay, externally we touch and okay, Prabhu, you are a great devotee, Prabhu. So, but internally that is more important. So when we completely surrender, that actually goes beyond physical touching of the feet of other devotees.
Very well. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Prabhu, Radhakrishna Prabhu.
Prabhu. So wonderful nectar, Prabhu. Very quickly, I know you have to go. Prabhuji, correct me, my understanding is wrong. So you said when we do sin, it is for body. When we do aparadha, it is for the soul. Yeah? So if you see, we have done something. This is the reason we are here. The soul is suffering here. Every step of our activity is suffering here in this world. So it doesn't make any difference, no, Prabhu. I mean, anyhow, the soul will get punished only in this material world. Whether you take this for your body or you put it into different position, these are all suffering only. So it doesn't make any difference, no, Prabhu.
I didn't get you, Prabhu.
My question is
suffering is for body. But the suffering because of the sins is for the body and gross body and subtle body, and offenses, results of offenses are for soul. So here, what is the eternal nature of the soul is that we are servants of the Supreme Lord. So we will never be able to reach that position of eternity of the soul if we continue to do these offenses. So the results of the sins, if you remember from Nectar of Devotion, Putam, Bijam, all these things we discussed, we heard, we understood. So all these things are possible to get rid of easily. But where we fail is these offenses, because that carries, that remains, the imprints that remains, unless that is completely cured by surrendering to, because that is no other solution. Whereas for all the sins there is a solution. The only one solution is take up the devotion service, everything is gone. So from that perspective, understand this offense suffering is there for both. But one suffering is temporary, other suffering will become permanent.
Yeah.
The permanency of the suffering of the soul will be there. But means soul will not be able to go back to the original position of serving the Supreme Lord. So what more bigger suffering than that we can imagine? All other bodily sufferings in this material, coming back to this material world to clear our sinful reactions of the past life, that is temporary, because always there can be an end. The moment we take up Krishna consciousness, is gone. But this, even take up Krishna consciousness also, that will not go. Only so that suffering is more permanent compared to this other bodily suffering. Hope I understood your question correctly.
Yes, understood. Because I was thinking like, no, it is ultimately the suffering of body is for suffering for soul only. This is how I was taking, but now it is clear. Connecting this, Prabhu, one small question that you said doing this Vaishnava Aparadha, it will not only take you to Naraka, like no, whichever Naraka you mentioned, even your forefather will also come down. Maharaura. So how come, Prabhu, this the karma is only like no, individual soul has his own journey, like no, in the karma. So why it is? I mean, I can understand if one devotee has born in the family, 21 generation like Prahlad Maharaj, 21 generation will be liberated. That is okay. But
how that is okay? This is not okay, Prabhu.
No, I mean this is
when the Acharya say that you become a devotee, all your forefathers also will become devotees, and they will be.
No, I'm coming to it, sir. So I'm coming to it, Prabhu. I'm coming to it. What I'm asking is that that it is not the forefather hand that in my in my Vamsha there'll be one sinful man he will born. It is not in the forefather's hand. It is plan of Lord. So it means how we have to take that it is Lord deciding that whether the forefather will deliver or not. It is like this we have to take.
No, actually, point here is the Prabhu, this is a gravity of the offense. So to highlight what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has told is for us to understand how grave is this offense, the results of this offense. The results of offense, when you become a devotee, that how good is the benefit is that our 21 generations plus minus everyone will go back. When we offend a devotee, everyone will come down, fall down. So when we are happy with that, so we should also accept this. That if I do a offense, not only me, I'm pulling all other people also. When I'm going up, when I'm becoming a devotee, not only me, I'm pulling up all others also. So both the ways it is not one-way traffic. It's both the ways the result will be there. Even I was not knowing. Only when I read this book, I got to know this, that how grave is offense of Vaishnava.
I don't know, Prabhu, is there any time, or I have one more last question that you said about the Shudra Puja. The Shudra Puja also should be come from the Vedas. Everything, all the. So why this? It is worshipping to the goddess Kali or Durga. He is also part of Krishna's energy. So why this has been designed such a way that people. What benefit? They will not get any benefit out of it. They will get some benefit, maybe materially, but then they will also perish. So why all these things has been mentioned in the Vedas? All this type of puja where people are suffering. In case of Gopala Chapala, he is 21 million birth. He has to be suffered. So why this type of things has been recommended? It's out of context.
Here actually we have to understand from two different contexts. One is doing Shudra Puja and offending Srivas Thakura by Gopal Chapala, that he was doing Shudra Puja. So doing Shudra Puja is recommended in Vedas, or it is covered in Vedas for a particular set of people, because everybody is not in the same platform. People are in different gradation of living entities. So they're in different levels of their devotional life. So somebody who is on the lower platform, you go and tell him to chant Hare Krishna and be happy, go back home, back to Godhead. He will not listen, he will not understand. So for them to gradually come to the stage of Krishna consciousness, these are all things that are recommended in Vedas. So it is for such people. They are better than non-believers, and Shudra Puja doers. Then above them are demigod worshippers. So slowly they will come into the platform step by step. But if by chance somebody is taking up the Krishna consciousness even from that level, they will take a lift and come up. They will not go step by step all the demigod worship and all this. So eventually they will come. What Veda says that whatever method you follow, eventually will come. Different routes going to the same destination, but it is only time. So why do we take so much of time when we have clear Bhavanam Janmanam? The Krishna says that so many routes are there. After so many millions of lifetimes, such people may come to reach me. But whereas you can come to me directly, he says. So that is one aspect. Second aspect is Gopala Chapalas is not because of Shudra Puja. Shudra Puja is not a sinful activity. In the sense, it is from a devotee perspective, it is not something which we are not supposed to do. But it is an activity for such people to come to a stage of Krishna consciousness over millions of lifetimes. But here the point is that he has tried to degrade, defame a pure devotee. So that is an offense for which he had to suffer. He was supposed to suffer 20 million births. So which were two different purposes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Then Prabhu, we have 2 minutes time.
Time is there. Okay, 2 minutes. Prabhu, what is the root cause for the Vaishnava Aparadha? I want to understand. What is the root cause?
Envy. People, we've seen this. This one we should understand that that is the root cause for our fall down, and that is continue to be root fall for our falling, continue to fall down, and we are continuing falling down. We are bringing our forefathers also. So there is nothing more than this.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Lot of take-home messages. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, there are no any questions. We'll end the session here. For those who have any doubts, this is basically I have some skin allergy, so it will take a few more weeks to see me in a normal position. So please bear with me. Please forgive me for this, and I'll be back to normal very soon. So